because here, because here we are on how to be friends with Dave and Shawn. And as much as we make fun of the ASMR situation, and justifiably, we might as well provide y'all with some delight. So Shawn is wolfing his food down. That's not necessary, homie. You take your time. You don't give yourself indigestion.
I'm just hungry.
Chew 32 times per spoonful. I know. Yep. And there we have it on how to be friends with Dave and Shawn. Hi, Shawn.
Hi, Dave.
Did that on purpose. Okay. So quick explanation regarding our brief delay. We recorded last week, and due to an exploded water main, the file totally got messed up. So that's nothing. And we have a guest as well in the podcast. If he wanders over here, you might see my dog rattling around. So that might be kind of cool. But so this is an on-the-fly episode. I probably look like garbage because I worked and I did depositions this week and trial on Monday. So I spent 3 hours on the phone with my attorney. Most expensive phone call of my life.
How did that go?
Actually, really well, because, I mean, he basically ran through everything, and so we'll see how that goes. But obviously, probably shouldn't talk about it too much, even on a podcast.
I would imagine, no, you probably don't want to discuss that.
No, but, you know. Come here, Dio. I'll show you off on the podcast.
Is your dog named Dio?
Yeah, so...
Like the singer Dio?
Yeah, Roddy James Dio. Ah, he's so big.
Why did you name your dog Dio?
No, so when he was picked out, and he totally picked us when he was like, 10 pounds ago, my friend says, name him after a literary character, one of your favorite literary characters. And, my mind starts flooding with characters such as Boo Radley and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And, I don't know, Dirk Gently from friggin' Douglas Adams.
Detective Agency? Yeah.
Exactly. But my mind settles in on Diomedes.
Diomedes.
You know him. He just wasn't featured in the movie Troy, starring Eric Bana and what's his face, Brad Pitt.
Okay.
So Diomedes, why the heck not? We'll start out with some Greek literature history. So you have the Trojan War, and Agamemnon trying to get his wife back, blah blah blah. And so it's an interesting piece of history because we didn't have kingdoms like that we do now. It was a collection of city-states, and so all of these guys were attacking Troy were a bunch of kings, basically, of city-states, right? And the second greatest of them was this guy named Diomedes, right? He would have been the guy to take on Hector in Troy if he had superpowers like Achilles does. Or did, I should say. But he was just a dude, right? He was the strongest dude they had who was just a dude, right? So he's interesting in terms of literature because he gets on the battlefield and he starts stabbing people like a crazy person. Stabby, stabby, stab. And the gods are like, hey, this guy's too stabby. He's too good at this stabbing. We better get down there and stop the stabbing. Deal. Come here, bring your horn over here. You're killing me. So Aphrodite and Ares go down, and they're like, we're going to stab you for all your stabbing. And he's like, no, you're not. And he stabbed them. So he successfully drove off two gods with his stabbiness.
Okay.
And interestingly, him being a fatalist, he believed that they were destined to take Troy, caused him to retreat, even though he could stab more gods, because he reckoned no point in pissing off a bunch of gods if we're going to take it anyway. So,
to
Kratos,
clarify, this is all just Greek mythology bullshit, right?
Right.
Okay.
But, everyone loves God of War, Kratos, taking on all of the gods. Like, Diomedes was the original one, and he voluntarily stopped. He was like, nah, I've stabbed enough gods today.
Okay. I mean, okay.
It's an ambitious name.
If you get exhausted and you just gotta stop stabbing gods.
Right.
But Ronnie James Dio is what my mind is going to go towards.
I'm the man on the silver mountain. Yeah.
Now that's the recognizable one. Do the recognizable one.
Whatever. I don't know.
Holy Diver. You
fucking
noob. Jesus.
We're not going to play that for the podcast. Okay.
I would have named my dog after a car, like Renault.
Renault?
Hmm?
Hot damn.
This will probably last 10 years and then break down. It's a dog.
He's lucky he didn't get a name like Blood Fart, honestly. So he needs to be pretty happy with what he got. So.
I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring, and I'm pretty sure I've been invaded by a blood fart. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for the teaser, as promised the last podcast, but for us 2 recordings ago, I will feel my conceal carry. What the heck? Was it your hands or your ass?
You heard that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was my hands then.
This is the greatest podcast in history. Anyways, I will show off my latest conceal carry. But we do need to take a minute to talk about the Ukraine. I don't know why I keep calling it the Ukraine. Okay. Shawn.
Yeah.
How does one simple person navigate all of the bullcrap? Ukrainians are putting out propaganda. The Russians are putting out propaganda. We're putting out propaganda. How do you find out what's real and what ain't?
What counts as propaganda? Does it have to be false to be propaganda?
Okay, so here's a good example. And there's a reason I'm asking this. When we talked about like the people on the Ukrainian soldiers on the island telling the ship to screw off.
Right.
Turns out they weren't all killed.
Right. Okay. In fairness, everybody thought they were dead. So.
Thank you. Ghost of Kiev, basically debunked. Okay, cool. So I have people, on the one hand, crapping all over Zelensky, right?
Okay.
And it's like, okay, maybe the guy's a terrible idiot, right? Are there a bunch of Ukrainians protesting him?
I would assume.
But have you seen any reports?
No, I really haven't honestly seen much on the Ukraine war.
Right.
Like,
so
it's not a top news story anymore. It's lasted longer than 7 days.
Thank you. Okay. So, yes. The war in the Ukraine. So far, I'm giving full points to Ukraine because it's not Russia. No one thought they would make it this far.
Okay.
Secondly, I thought we were done with this like World War I taking like kilometers at a time bullcrap.
Well, apparently when you're Russia, that's the best you can do.
Apparently. And it goes back and forth. Third, so now Russia's depending on China for both financial and military aid. Dude, if you had asked me 10 years ago if we would get in a proxy war with China, with our proxy being Ukraine, and China's proxy being Russia, I would have said, yo, nuts.
What I want to know is what China thinks right now, considering they have to support Russia at this point.
Right.
Like, oh, why did we ally with these idiots?
Right. Are they stuck in another North Korea situation where they buddied up to the wrong lunatic dictator?
I don't know. The problem with Russia is its infrastructure, its military infrastructure moves via rail.
Right.
And outside of Russia, it has very little efficacy, which means Russia is good in combat for about the first 4 or 5 days.
Right.
But after that, their supply chain breaks down.
Yes.
So this entire conflict was based on Russia thinking that they could knock this shit out in under a week, essentially thinking that the Ukrainian government would fold and go, okay, you win. Yeah, it didn't, especially when you have NATO sending them weapons and supplies.
Uh-huh. So, here's a couple of points everyone needs to understand. Number one, it's really, really hard to have an effective justification for an invasion.
Okay.
I have people being like, well, Russia had to invade because Zelensky kept threatening them.
Yeah, I don't know how. Although I have to say, in hindsight, maybe if they were being threatened by Ukraine, they should have taken it seriously, because obviously they can't stomp them out.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
Like, it's not like Crimea, where, Russia took Crimea. Yeah, but they were also supported by a bunch of opposition that helped support their invasion.
Right.
There are
they
bunch
basically
of separatists in Crimea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, yes. Really hard to justify an invasion. Number two, really hard to criticize defending your own country.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
A lot of the crap that I hear is, people pooing all over Zelensky for, like, his fiery rhetoric and basically just saying a bunch of bull crap. It's really hard to criticize any of the measures that he's taking, considering he's being invaded.
Well, that, and I respect any man who was an actor and once played the piano with his penis in a skit, who's now leading a country in a rebellion against Russia. And I'm pretty sure he didn't actually use his wiener. That was just part of the skit, but he was an actor.
Sure.
And
yes.
If anybody has a great history of actors being sitting dignitaries, it's the U.S.
Yeah, thank you.
Right?
Dio,
so
I've got a dog peeing on the floor. Why did you pee on the floor? All right. I want you to tell 2 dad jokes while I put him in his cage, and he's going to whimper a lot on this podcast.
All right. 2 dad jokes. I don't have any dad jokes. I'm a dad, but I don't have dad jokes. Although it is nice to finally be a single person in the podcast. Listening to some goober chase around his equally goobery dog. Hear that? Hear that? It's the sound of animal ownership. Intoxicating, isn't it? Anyways, it all started when I was 5. I think there was this confusion as to whether I should wear certain pants or not. But those pants were comfortable. I don't care if they were purple. They were comfortable pants. This is just obnoxious. Are you done?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So we had a different kind of water main burst in this episode.
Yeah, apparently your dog sprung a leak.
I hear him whimper now, but you know what? That's fur baby parenting. Okay, so yeah. Yes. Finally, all of us with opinions on Ukraine, what good are we doing?
I don't know. But, I mean, obviously, I would assume that the cost of a mail-order bride from the Ukraine has gone down.
Probably, yes.
Right?
I mean, but to be fair, they're going to be in short supply. We're only taking about 100,000 refugees in.
Are they like Pokemon? Because you've already collected one from the former Soviet bloc, right?
No, I gave that one back.
Oh, see?
I can keep that. That's like when you pick up that Rattata with the low EV score, so you're not gonna get a quick Raticate. You're just gonna get some. Yeah, not gonna work. Not gonna work.
Just not. It's too expensive to collect Soviet bloc wives.
Yeah, done with that. Done with that.
These are some of the things I love. First of all, the New York Times. I love any newspaper that has an opinion piece because it's the exact opposite of news. So the fact that you even have that in your newspaper astounds me.
Yeah.
Opinion.
It's all opinion now anyway.
Russia's war in Ukraine is dividing families. Is that really an opinion?
Oh, God.
I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like, oh, well, my Ukrainian blank is pro-Russian blank. Are you talking about the fact that somebody's mom just got killed in a missile strike? Like, what is the point of your opinion? At what point did you think during a war that your opinion of families are being divided would fucking matter at all?
And it kind of just illustrates how dumb we are, because that happens in 100% of the wars since the history of mankind.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're highlighting that, you can't write. You have no brain. Speaking of, okay, this was the other thing. All right, I know you're not a huge fan, but let's face it. Good can come from many different sources. Steven Crowder, famous conservative comedian.
Yeah.
Puts on a fat suit and infiltrates a fat studies conference.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as we have crapped on, literally and figuratively sometimes, the obesity epidemic on this podcast, it is worth mention that fat studies should not be a collegiate study anywhere, period, except to try to cure it.
Right, as part of maybe like a bachelor's of science that focuses on, I don't know, weight management.
Yeah.
Did you just say holistic?
Yeah, why not? I don't know.
You could shove it up your holistic.
Yeah,
I don't like Crowder. I think he's loud and obnoxious, like that other idiot that you listen to. Anybody who is on this, like on a Glenn Beck or Shawn Hannity or whatever program that just screams their ideas and hopes that screaming them repeatedly will make people agree with them, I don't listen to.
You really have never watched a single Change My Mind, have you?
No, because I have no interest in it. Listen, yeah, he has salient points, but at the same time, the Change My Mind podcast or videos makes no sense to me, because you're asking somebody a question that you have prepared in advance to debate. So then you run onto the street and you ask somebody a question. They have had no chance to do any research or come up with any references. And
he doesn't run up to people. They run up to him.
What is your expectation? That they're somehow going to be more knowledgeable? And you're right. Shame on those people for entering a gunfight with a switchblade.
Yes.
But
the fact you having this reaction to Steven Crowder is exactly what I need for this point. Okay. Because what happens is he and his researchers, producers get together and write an academic paper on fat studies, and they submit it for the purposes of this conference, and it's accepted. And so he puts on his fat suit and takes on a persona and presents the paper, which is a joke. The whole thing is just a joke. He's basically talking about how being fat helped save him in the time of Trump, right?
Okay.
Right. So the fact that you are so dismissive of him makes the point of how wonderful this is, and rightly so, because they didn't sniff him out, no pun intended. They accepted him to wide applause and eventually had requested that he peer review other papers. Shawn, peer review other papers.
Right. Now, well, first of all, if we haven't already discussed it, the whole peer review process is completely broken.
Thank you. Yes.
It's been broken for years. It's always been broken, and it's part of that highfalutin college education bullshit where somebody with a PhD does something, and then if we say peer reviewed, it counts. But in reality, somebody with a PhD, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean they properly repeated the test. It doesn't mean they tested properly. It doesn't mean any of that. I don't have a problem with people calling that out. What I have a problem with is anybody who tries to change anybody else's mind just by being loud and obnoxious. And that's the same as Sean Hannity. It's the same as Alex Jones. And they fall into the same conservative
You're down the rabbit hole. You're down the rabbit hole. And you're helping the purpose.
I'm not helping anything. What's the purpose?
The purpose is exactly this. If you hate Crowder...
I don't hate Crowder.
I just
don't like him.
Stick with me.
I also don't like Coke. It's not a hate issue.
And this is again why How to Be Friends with Dave and Shawn is so great, because I love Coke, you love Pepsi. Let me get to the point. On our head. Okay. If you dislike Steven Crowder, it makes it all the more wonderful because of the fact that a blithering buffoon has shattered something that we unifiedly hate. If you do like Steven Crowder, well, it's still hilarious. Wherever you stand on the fella, this is a net good for the universe.
I mean, I'm not denying that overall somebody calling people out on their bullshit is a good thing.
Right. And that's
what I'm saying.
That is the
I
point.
just don't like the way certain people do it.
And
so I have no interest in watching their YouTube videos.
Which is a great example. Okay, so I need to state without equivocation that your assessment on the Change My Minds just isn't correct on the basis that he isn't yelling at them ever. It's remarkably civilized and really what the world needs in terms of conversation. And you're correct that he is more prepared than the people coming to him, generally speaking. Therefore, it is a little bit unfair. That being said, Alex Jones, Sean Hannity, flipping Glenn Beck, yeah, those guys you can totally keep.
Yeah.
It sets a good example that if you're going to be on the left, you should not universally love all left sources of media. And if you're going to be on the right, you should not universally love all sources of media. And if you think you're following someone in the middle, you're wrong.
Here's my ultimate feeling on the thing.
Yes.
My feeling on this entire thing, all of those people, right or left, is that people in general, society as a whole, especially American society, is dumb.
Uh-huh.
And the only way to get their attention is to be the loudest one in the room.
Oh, my friend, you're so right.
So, I've given up. I don't care. I'm 39 this year? I'm 39.
You're a handsome 39.
I'm 39. I plan on dying by 60. That's my plan. That's why I dip and I smoke, because I want to get off this horrible fucking rock as fast as humanly possible.
You need another tasty cigar.
Just say.
Do your thing.
By the way, Keith, these are jokes.
I am.
Okay. Because I got my son in the room, and you can't be funny without your children being like, "Why does my dad want to die?" The point is, find it. You'll find out when you're an adult. Society is in a downward spiral, as it is. It's just going to get dumber. And I've just accepted that fact. I don't care what Steven Crowder does for the right or the left. I don't care what the right or the left does. I really don't. Honestly, just leave me the fuck alone. That's all I want you to do. Is Steven Crowder is a conservative, so is he fighting for my gun rights?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is he?
Yeah. Yes.
Is he? Okay. Is Shawn Hannity fighting for my gun rights?
Man, that guy, no. All he does is go on the show and massage his ego for 2 hours.
How about Shapiro or Jones?
Jones, I'm still not convinced isn't just doing it for the laughs, because he's hilarious, but I don't listen to his show. Shapiro, yeah, absolutely.
So with all this effort that these guys are putting into this, what exactly are they working towards?
Oh, come on. Oh, all right.
What's the point of all of it?
Let me to that point.
To swing one more blue state to the red? Like what?
No, for real, Shawn. For real. Let's take those two. All right, so Steven Crowder is basically just living his dream. He was a child actor, and he always wanted to have his own show. And so that's what it is with him.
The point of Steven Crowder's existence is he just wants fucking attention.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yes. Ben Shapiro is at least honest enough to say that he's in it for the money. He likes making money. He says he makes money.
Okay, you know what? I'm on board.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Give me a decent, real reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, guys like Shawn Hannity irritate the heck out of me because, like I say, he just gets up. He really does two things on his show. He parades conservative people along, and he's got enough clout that he can get big names, and they all just basically massage the underside of each other's genitals during the show. And then what he'll do is he'll promise a bombshell every episode.
Right.
Never deliver.
It's basically, yeah, he's blue balling his audience.
Now, Glenn Beck, he's another yeller, or he has been historically. He's one of those. He's like a mild Alex Jones in that he just makes wild statements and hopes they stick to the wall. He and Shawn Hannity are obviously just in it to make money, but only a person like Ben Shapiro will admit to it, you know?
So why is it then that all you heavily right-swinging guys watch these people then if you know what they're about?
I don't. Don't accuse me of being heavily right-swinging. How dare you? I have a good left hook.
You're kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Well,
you're like me. You're in the middle, but if you had to choose Republican or Democrat, you'd probably swing a little more towards the Republican, right?
Right. I'm technically, in all of the quizzes that I've taken, technically like a business conservative, very libertarian about things. By and large, the fact simply remains that if you're going to vote under the DNC, your vote in the primaries means nothing. Because
I'm here to tell you, your vote means nothing in general.
In general, you're correct. All of the parties are corrupt. But the point that I'm making with
everything's bad.
Yes. But the DNC, they're just going to pick someone whose turn it is. Maybe it's Hillary's turn. Maybe it's Biden's turn. Maybe it's Obama's turn. They're going to pick whose turn it is.
Right.
Trump might have been a total buffoon in a lot of ways, but he blew up the conventions, and that was nice.
Trump was the change that middle America wanted.
Correct. It didn't. And now we've got this zombie president who just, I don't want to dwell on that. Instead, I want to shift topics. I want to shift topics real quick, Shawn. Are you ready?
No, we're good. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to like this. You're going to like this. Okay, so we all remember the movie Roadhouse, right?
Roadhouse.
Okay. Everyone remembers how amazing
Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze was in it, but okay, look at Sam Elliott.
Yeah, Sam Elliott was fantastic.
He was sexy as hell.
Yes.
He pulled off a role without having a massive mustache for once.
Right, but the facial hair didn't hurt.
Right, and at like 5'10" and like 150 pounds, he somehow played a tough guy, right?
I would date him. Yes.
Shawn, how old do you reckon he was in Roadhouse?
Like 46?
Thank you. Thank you. At the time Roadhouse was released, this man was 45 years old.
Oh,
At
damn,
filming,
I was close.
probably 44. I'm 41. I'm almost Sam Elliott from Roadhouse.
I wake up every day thinking that I'm going to be the positive change in my own life, and I'm actually going to exercise, and I'm going to be swole. And you can't, I just shaved, but I was very, very furry. Furrier than you. And I went into the office, and my coworker was like, dude, with your glasses, and they bring out your ears, you kind of look like an orc. And honestly, here's where I am in my life. I think I'm going to start lifting. And I think I would make a good tall Bautista analog. I think I could pull off a Bautista.
No.
I know?
No.
No.
No, first off, you're a gringo.
Okay.
Did you know that? You're pale.
I know. I'm Irish.
Secondly, leaning more towards a Kurt Angle kind of situation.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, God. Google him real quick.
Who's Kurt Angle?
You saw him in Warrior, starring Tom Hardy, Nick Nolte, and Joel Edgerton. Great film.
Film. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could. No, he's really swole. I don't know. But yeah, no, I could probably pull that off.
And Dave Bautista isn't swole?
You give me a couple years, I could probably pull that off.
Okay, speaking of,
but I got to stop drinking wine on my weekends. It's like,
you know what?
It's a choice. It's a hard choice.
It is.
Hard choice.
Shawn.
Yeah.
Speaking of.
Yeah.
The ACFT is finally official. Did you see this?
There is no fucking way you know I'm following the ACFT.
Shawn.
I don't care what PT tests you guys have to pass, as ridiculous as they are.
Shawn.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the original intent of the ACFT was? Don't Google it. Just fire off of your bald head.
They wanted to revamp the ACFT so that it gave a more realistic metric of a soldier's effectiveness in their job. And the new ACFT, as far as I can tell, does not do that at all.
Okay. My friend, you're hitting on the point. Of course, the ACFT was supposed to be a more comprehensive test of the fitness of the soldier that was supposed to prepare them for the job. Regardless of gender, regardless of age, you were supposed to have a standard whether you were combat arms, combat support, or a desk jockey.
Right.
Okay? And it was supposed to have a variety of new exercises in order to test that capacity. So, for example, little guys such as myself needed to deadlift 210 pounds, which is not terribly hard, but not something that I've done in my life, compared to a soldier who riding a desk 140 pounds, right?
Okay.
Okay. And one of the
270.
exercises that what was that?
I deadlift 270.
Well, because you're stronger than me, I can say that.
Right, but is it 220 across the board based on height, or is it size and like how does it work? Is everybody got to lift 210?
The idea was everyone who was combat support had to lift 210.
Okay.
Everyone who was combat arms, it was like 270.
Okay.
Everyone who, so you got me.
I'm tracking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also added a workout that was just washing everyone out, the leg tuck, where you had to do. We covered this before on the podcast, where you had to do basically a parallel arm pull up and touch your elbows with your knees. It was washing everyone out, right?
That's so exhausting on your core to do something like that. Like you will
It
fall
is, but
apart in seconds.
Truth, but it's a better exercise for clearing an obstacle than is a straight up pull up.
Absolutely.
Because
yes.
yeah, if you're gonna get an obstacle, you've got to be able to swing your legs up.
You got to get your legs up. Yeah.
So the ACFT is finally official.
Okay.
There are now categories for genders.
Okay.
There are now categories for age.
Okay.
And instead of doing the leg tuck, which I worked hard to be able to do, several of, now we plank.
In fairness, the plank is better than what they did before.
Plank is better than a sit-up, yes.
Yeah.
But
so you still doing sit-ups?
No.
How long do you have to plank for?
A minimum of 1:20, which is boring.
That is boring. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I planked right now, I would hit a minute easy.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
I'm way out of shape. Yeah.
Right, you can suffer through a plank. So now everyone has and they took the minimums down to the minimums and below. So I only have to deadlift 140 pounds. If I were female at my age, it'd be like 120. I only have to do like 10 push-ups. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't care what sex you are, what age you are. But if I go down, you should be able to drag my ass out of there, which means there should just be a flat number across the board. Now,
yes.
Fighting weight for me was about 215 pounds. Let's throw 60 pounds of shit on me. We are now at 275. Nobody's saying you have to deadlift me.
Correct.
And you wouldn't want to. That whole let's carry a soldier out of the battle zone is dumb. That's going to exhaust you. That's why armor has drag handles. But set up a 270-pound dummy and just make them drag it 50 yards.
Yeah,
regardless of age, regardless of sex, whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Just a set distance. And it's problematic. And this is why I don't blame people when they look at a small female soldier and go, oh shit, is she going to be effective? Because we grade on this scaled metric.
Yes. It takes away a sense of accomplishment as well. I was honestly going to feel, I'm not a PT stud by any means either. I was going to feel real good knocking out this test at my standard when it became official. Now I don't get that. And
now
there are other soldiers who with work could easily have done it, but now they're not going to get it either because the standard is lower.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I'm okay. I'm not okay with a low standard. I'm okay with a standard that puts everybody on the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, if you're this age and you're a female, you have to run it in this amount of time. Just tell everybody across the board how fast they need to run the mile. And stop fucking grading people. Just give them a pass or a fail. What is it?
Thank you. Yes.
At what point you get a pass or fail? Other than a promotion board, what the fuck is that useful for?
It's just chest beating.
So when I pull a soldier for duty, oh well, he got a 277 and the other guy got a 234. So I'm going to pull the 277 guy. It's ridiculous. The only reason you need a metric like that is if you're doing something special that requires additional physical activity. And given that, they're going to test you to see if you can do it anyways. So you're right. It's just chest beating bullshit.
And take the point a little bit further. Let's take the point to its ultimate goal. Okay, so we're saying that this is the standard for all soldiers. And we're saying that regardless of your MOS, this is what you have to do, okay? And we make it okay for certain soldiers. And let's take it away from females, and let's just say an older soldier like myself has a lower standard for his run time. So guess who falls behind and gets killed in, like, running out of Mogadishu, for example?
Right. But you passed the test.
But I passed the PT test.
You passed the PT test. And see, this is
Right.
why when my father was in the Marine Corps, everybody met the same requirement. You had to run a mile in a certain amount of time, and you did it in your fucking battle dress uniform because nobody's going to let you put on your tennis shoes to escape a combat zone. Correct. And that's how they tested. But this is the new softer, gentler military where you guys are lucky if you can get somebody who can fog a mirror and spell their own name.
Yeah, correct. And that's true. It is getting really hard to staff essential positions in the military. We're just not getting people in. And putting up woke commercials about you being the best woke self that you are in the Army and your all of this stuff. No.
I was raised with 2 moms. They taught me blank. Are you fucking serious with that shit?
For real. Do you know why the Marine Corps never has a problem meeting their recruiting metrics?
Because they don't lie about what they are.
Right. They're perfectly honest. We're here to reprogram you to murder.
Kill. Yeah. Right. We're going to teach you to fucking kill. And then, I mean, good chances you're going to go fucking kill some. Do you want to go kill shit? Yes. Right.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, why do you think the Air Force never has a problem meeting their metrics?
Because they present themselves as being soft as hell, and everybody wants to serve in the military, but be like, I don't want to do the hard one.
Right.
Right.
But at least they're honest about it. In the meantime, you've got the Army that needs to, the largest of the branches that needs to genuinely fill some rough roles, and they're out there trying to play like the Air Force game while in the same theaters as what the Marines do. It's stupid.
No, so it's absolutely. Whereas, I mean, Russia's recruiting ads are always like super aggressive like the Marine Corps is. And I'm not saying if you're a small female, don't join the Army. Absolutely join the Army. But, just, I don't know, hold yourself to a higher standard than they're going to. Because they're not going to hold you to a very high standard at all.
Correct.
Like, honestly, the Army at this point is, if you show up in the right uniform and your hair's got the right haircut and you kind of breathe, you'll get through the day.
Correct.
So.
Okay, Shawn, another hard shift. Have you had to pull and fire your concealed weapon in self-defense yet?
No.
Thank God. Most of us haven't. Right?
Right.
Some of us have. Hell, if someone watching this show has, let me know. I've needed to have mine on me a couple of times, but I never pulled it. Hence, you and I have talked about this thing at length, but here we have it.
Yeah.
I promised the audience.
You're going to have to disable your background if you want people to actually see that.
Okay, hang on. And this time, unlike the last time, I'm not showing the serial number side.
Yeah, so if you're listening, essentially, David has bought the Men in Black Noisy Cricket.
That is correct.
Yeah. He bought.
Okay.
I still laugh every time I see that thing because it's so dumb. It's like, here's the deal. It'll kill you. Like, I am not debating that. I wouldn't want to be shot with it. But you're like, no. I'm going to design a gun that shoots 45 long Colt. Oh, yeah, cool. How long is the barrel going to be? Not long enough to build up chamber pressure. Like,
right. 2.5 inches.
Yeah, 2.5 inches, which, I mean, depending on how you measure is 5. Depends on what you tell your spouse. But
relatively the same range as a super soaker.
Pretty much. Same accurate range, yes. Let's. I mean, we can put this in perspective. Go ahead.
Now, I'm not one of the guys that buys guns just to buy guns. I do have a reason for this. And the reason for it is I needed something small enough that I could carry it under some circumstances where it's becoming difficult for me to even carry my smallest firearms. But I need something that's still pretty damn lethal. And this is pretty damn lethal just for short distances.
Now, how long is your barrel?
2.5 inches.
2.5. Okay, so for comparison, oops, sorry, I did not mean to hit the mic. I'm gonna have to. Okay, so
you're gonna have to disable your background too,
right? Isn't it ridiculous?
No, I got it. Just don't move it. You can't move it.
Okay. So for comparison, this is 3.2. So this is what, a whopping 0.7 longer than yours.
And that matters.
It, depending on what you're firing, yes. But am I really getting that much of an advantage out of it for self-defense first round out? So as adorable as I think your gun is, I don't deny the fact that it's useful for self-defense.
Correct. And it's kind of cool. I just, for anyone curious about it.
And yes, my serial number's on there too, of course. But
that's life. Whatever.
I have the record.
So this is kind of cool in the regard that our Remingtons have this little plunger safety, right? And just to show everyone, this is empty, so it is safe. But you have this plunger safety, right? And it is single action only.
Right.
Right? But it does have the cool mechanism where you just keep pulling the hammer back and keep pulling the trigger, and it'll fire from both barrels.
All 2 times.
All 2 times. And so the load that I like to carry, these little guys in it. And I still haven't gotten a chance to go out to the range with these, but in order to maximize that chamber pressure, I got the shortest, flattest bullet I could.
Fucking wad cutters.
Thank you. Yes. 225 grain, 45 Colt.
I don't know how that's maximizing your chamber pressure, though.
It just more of the bullet deep inside the shell rather than,
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about 2.5 inches, every millimeter counts, right?
Every millimeter counts, ladies.
Ladies, if you're going to
none of you that listen.
So, yeah. It wasn't expensive. It's about $300, and like I was telling you, buying online at Sportsman's Warehouse is the worst experience under God's yellow sun.
I think it's so funny the difficulty you went through, and I went in and 10 minutes later owned a gun because Sportsman's Warehouse made everything so difficult.
Right. Which, by the way, at some point, apparently, I need to come down and get that Nevada conceal carry. Apparently, that thing is good in a lot of different states.
I don't know what states it's good in. I don't leave my state.
I know.
I love Nevada. I will never. Well, I went to California recently, but it doesn't matter what license you have. Good luck.
And don't go to California. What's there for you?
Don't go to California. They paid me to go to California, so that's all that matters.
Oh, you went there for work. That's nice.
Yes.
So we're all caught up, my friend, on this sleepy, sleepy day. And guess what I have to look forward to after this podcast?
A hot date.
Homework.
Do you have a hot date tonight at all?
Nope.
You just don't
No, not until
dog.
like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Like some
I think
sad version of I Am Legend.
Yeah. Well, did you just cut cheese again?
I did. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to admit something on the podcast now that'll be hilarious to anyone who watches this that knows about this. I'm 41 years old. 41 years old. Okay? I was 41 years old when I found that sometimes a lady will fart. And it'll go forward instead of backwards. And it'll get sucked up in and have to be re-farted out.
Who taught you this?
I'm not going to say names. The point is...
a female told you that sometimes they fart And it goes forward.
It's not just
towards
one person.
The perineum.
This is enough to be a meme, Shawn.
Enters the vaginal canal.
Yes.
And then has to be expelled a second time.
Yes. We call that a... I know technically it's a queef, but...
I mean, I don't...
That's like...
I don't know what to call that.
It's called...
I also don't know how that's going to hit anybody listening to this. Because that is so rando. My friends and family watching this podcast, if you've made it 50 minutes into this, consider this your treat. The discussion of the physics of farts and female anatomy. I have never heard of that. I'm going to double check your work. I am going to peer review this study.
Do it. 39 years old and you're telling me you haven't heard of this before?
No, I have not. No, I'm not saying it's a physical impossibility. I'm just saying I didn't know it occurred often enough that it would come up in conversation. My friend, you're going to be turning a wrench at work at some point, and you're going to just start giggling because you're going to think about that. Just the idea of the little...
the second time.
You just, whatever baseline we've established for viewership, you just lost half of them.
Yes, sir. This is the only
really
podcast where we have like 14 people watching it, and we try to drive them away every week.
Try to drive them away. And the fact that we record this shit with some reasoning that maybe somebody will find enjoyment in it. Just two idiots talking about queefs. Jesus. Like, not young idiots. Not like 20 and 22. Like 39 and 41.
Full-grown men.
Posting a 52-minute discussion on the internet that ends in a discussion about queefs. Assuming anyone gives a shit. Like,
and that's why this is the greatest podcast in history. I don't care who you are.
That's the best part. Because in the future, like, I don't give a shit if you listen to this or not. I got to justify an hour-long uninterrupted discussion with my friend David that ended in a fart exiting a butt and then going into a vagina.
And exiting the vagina subsequently.
And now I gotta go check this against my wife, who will now probably not talk to me for the rest of the night.
That's too good. Just blame me. Just blame me, Shawn.
I will. Trust me, I will.
Next week, we're going to find out how that went. Anyone who's listened to this point, I don't know if it'll be next week or 2 weeks from now, but tune in. We're going to find out if Shawn has been divorced. So, Shawn, love you, homie.
Love you too, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.